So after 6 months of operation, you can see that our algae scrubber has not eliminated the visual aspect of the algae in the tank. I'm a little disappointed, a little surprised, but this isn't the conclusive answer, at least not the final answer yet. You can see that our algae scrubber is now producing a brownish colored algae, which is usually an indication of lower nutrients available in the system. You can also see that it's kind of a little dirty, a little salt crusty, I guess, but that might be because of a couple of drips or leaks in the past or spills in the past. What I need to do today is obviously go through and clean the inside of the tank. We're going to change the light bulbs in the algae scrubber. They're supposed to be changed every 3 months, and I'm going on 6 months. So this could be one of the reasons for a decreased results in the tank. But at the same time, I also did get some new test kits, and I want to go through and test nitrate and phosphate in the system. So let's get to work cleaning this tank up.
I'm going to use my strong aquarium cleaning magnets. While it's risky in the sense that I could scratch the acrylic, if I'm careful and pay attention, it's a much quicker and 90% easier way to clean the view panels free of green and calcareous algae growth.
Took care of the algae on the glass, now into the algae inside the tank. So I think before we go in and start siphoning out some of the loose algae and basically perform a water change as a result of, I want to take the opportunity and test the water to see where our nutrient levels are, just to get an idea as to, is the algae scrubber really removing nutrients from the system? At the moment it doesn't appear as though it is, or at least at the very least it's not having any effect on eliminating the algae in there. But that may be a case where it has eliminated the nutrients from the water, but keep in mind the rock, like a sponge, has been sitting in that water over the last number of years and could become a giant nutrient sponge by themselves. So I picked up a couple of new test kits here, nitrate and phosphate. We're going to test those levels, which would be the typical indication of nutrients within a system, and see how the algae scrubber is actually doing. So our C-Chem nitrate and phosphate test kits come with this nifty little sample bowl. It's got 6 little depressions or dimples in there where you'll take the water, sample water, and place it in there. We'll go ahead and do 3 tests of each. And there we've got 3 separate tests that are going to occur in that single tray, and we're testing for phosphate. According to the directions, it's 1 drop of phosphate number 1, or reagent number 1. And we'll do a little quick stir. And then 2 drops of reagent number 2. Give it a shake. And we'll stir those once again. And this is about 5 to 30 seconds. We should get some results. And essentially we're going to use this color graduated scale to compare the colors in there. They've come up with this clever little shadow box thing that kind of, you don't see the whole spectrum, you just see the color that it applies to. And in this particular case, dark, 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 light, light, too light. According to this test, there's 0.5 parts per million of phosphate in the system. That's fairly low. Let's see what our nitrate level is. And there we've applied the test water to the sample trays for nitrate, and the directions, which are always important to read, say add 1 drop of nitrite reagent number 1. Nitrite, 1 drop. Give it a quick little stir. And then add a level teaspoon or tablespoon or scoop, I guess, of the nitrate reagent mix. It's a powder. And we'll use our stick to stir it again. And it takes about 5 to 8 minutes for this to start changing color, which once again we have a graduated color scale here in shades of pink that we'll use with once again this nifty little shadow box thing that kind of narrows down what we see. So give me 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get my bucket ready to start siphoning out some algae. Okay, so here's the results of the nitrate and phosphate tests. You're going to use those 3 samples. They generate a particular color, and we're trying to compare it to this up here. I thought this looked like about 1.5. There seems to be a little bit of blue in there, and yet there is no real blue in the scale here. So I'm going to say, and this is really where it comes down to is a judgment call, about 1.5 parts per million of phosphate. A little on the high side. Not extremely high, but more than we would like it to be. Nitrates. You can see the 3 little slightly pale pink sample wells. The closest I would say those are is 0. Or real close to 0, so I'm quite impressed with the fact that there appears to be no nitrate in the system, although there is obviously some phosphate still in the system. So I think what we need to do is A, allow it some time, since we do not know where we started as far as the nutrient levels are concerned, and this was never really a direct result of the testing of the algae scrubber. It was the use of the algae scrubber to eliminate the algae. And to eliminate the algae, I guess we have to eliminate the nutrients first. Obviously, we still have algae growing in the tank, but we have noticeably decreased the nitrate level and most likely the phosphate level, but we still have a ways to go. So I think the next step is we need to take the screen out of the algae scrubber, not only clean it, but we also need to go ahead and change the bulbs in the algae scrubber. So we'll go ahead and shut down the algae scrubber. We can then pull that screen or spray rod out of there, take it outside and clean the algae off of it. But I want to show you the algae that's growing in there right now. So there's the algae that's currently growing off the screen. It's kind of brown in color and kind of frothy or foamy, and from what I understand, that's usually an indication of a decrease or enough of a drop in nutrients in the system that the algae is no longer as fruitful or flourishing. So I want to take this screen out, I want to clean it out, and then we're going to remove those lighting enclosures off the sides of the scrubber so we can go ahead and change out the bulbs. Hi there, my name's Jim Stime and you know me as the LA Fish Guy. Well, I also wear a couple of other hats. One of them is the jellyfish tank called the Jelly Aquarium, and the third is myfishtank.com. I offer an entire line of acrylic aquariums ranging from rectangular to hexagon, flatback hex, as well as the custom curve front aquariums. There's also an entire line of stands and canopies ranging from MDF to pine to oak with a variety of different finishes available. And the website is even smart enough that you can calculate what the freight and crate charges to your location will be. That's myfishtank.com.
Reef Hobbyist magazine believes that our hobby, our fellow hobbyists, and the animals in our care are best served by the free distribution of quality information. Reef Hobbyist magazine provides hobbyists with critical husbandry information with an emphasis on marine ornamental breeding efforts. Reef Hobbyist magazine is available for free in local fish stores across the country, or you can subscribe at www.reefhobbyistmagazine.com. For a limited time only, LA Fishguys t-shirts are back. Whether it's gear for cleaning your own aquarium or one-upsmanship with your friends, these quality Hanes beefy tees are 100% pre-strung cotton. My three-color LA Fishguys logos are silk-screened onto the back and front chest area of the shirts. 3 sizes, medium, large, and extra large. Go to lafishguys.com and click on the t-shirt link to order your LA Fishguys t-shirts today. As I remove the spray rod and algae screen, you can see there's a heavy coating of a frothy brown algae growing all over the screen. You can see there's an abundance of algae still down inside there that we need to clean out as well. And then we've got a tremendous amount of algae that's growing on the screen. So let's go ahead and clean the algae out of there. The area within the scraper chamber is narrow and I can barely get my hand into it to remove the loose algae. But the name badge credit card scraper I've been using does make it much easier to clean the clear lenses that the light shines through. It's important that those lenses be clean of algae. Otherwise, if the light can't get through, it's not going to grow algae on the screen. Here I continue to use my name badge card scraper. It's been suggested that an old hacksaw blade might be a more thorough way of cleaning the screen. So we've got the screen inside the algae scrubber scraped off and we're ready to put it back in. But before I put it in, I want to go ahead and slide this lighting enclosure off the outside of it so I can change the bulbs. There's 2 lighting enclosures, one on the front and one on the back side. We'll start with the one on the front side first. Comes off that easy. And here's the enclosure. I assume at one end is a lens that slides out and gives us access to the bulbs right inside here. And I ordered some bulbs in, so I've got those right over here. Let's go ahead and take out these old ones, which still work, but the fact is that they've decreased in their intensity and probably fallen a bit in their spectrum, meaning they've lost some of their color. And algae, like corals, have a particular color range that they prefer that it allows them to excel as in growth. So we've got a few replacement bulbs here. We'll pull 2 of them out. Go ahead and give it a test just to make sure they work. Now, unlike corals, I can change all the bulbs at one time in the algae scrubber. It may have an effect on the algae growth because of the significant increase in intensity or the quickness that the color spectrum came back to what they like. But regardless, we're always scraping the algae out of there anyhow. Unlike corals,
You do not want to change all the bulbs at one time because you can literally sunburn the corals by increasing the intensity, which means as a result of bringing it back to its original color and its original wattage. Again, fluorescent bulbs decrease in color and intensity over time, but with the algae, it's not that big a deal to change them all at one time, whereas with corals, you would only want to change one bulb at a time and wait a period of time to change the next bulb. Let's go ahead and get that one on the back side changed, get this one slid back in there.
I do understand the reason for changing the bulbs, as there is a decline in the output of the bulb. What I do find is that the decline of the bulbs seems extremely fast. That's every 3 months.
Let's go ahead and plug it in, see if it works.
Now, even though the bulbs are inexpensive and the amount of time to switch the bulbs is fairly minimal, there's still the need to repeatedly do this every 3 months.
Okay, everything's back to working order. Put our lid back on. And we'll take a little bit of time, kind of clean the salt crust up in this area too. So we've been running the algae scrubber for about 9 months now. Through this period of time, we've confirmed today that it has soaked up some of the nutrients in the aquarium. There's virtually almost no nitrate in the system. We do still have a pretty healthy level of phosphate, 1.5, and ultimately I think we want to be at 0.05. So we've got a ways to go. And hopefully the changing of the bulbs in the algae scrubber today will help make it a little bit more effective and soak up the rest of the phosphates in the system. Until then, I don't see the algae in the tank disappearing, and that was the ultimate goal and reason for putting the algae scrubber on there. That and the fact I'd like to be able to add a bunch of fish to the system and be able to feed, not carelessly as much as I'd like to, but be able to feed heavily. So we'll give the algae scrubber a little bit more time. I'll probably produce one more part of this episode because I ultimately do want to show and see some positive results in the algae scrubber. Until then, keep moving forward and we'll be doing the same.